Hello, hello. Okay. If this doesn't work, I'm going to lose my shit. Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of Cold Brew Hot Takes. On our last episode, we talked a lot about goal setting. And if you've ever been in corporate America, you know that the performance review process is a really dreadful one. But ultimately, in my opinion, it has completely fucked up how we goal set in the real world. On this episode, we're going to talk more about goal setting, but beyond that, how we actually need to start taking some action to make our goals a reality. And a lot of the time, it's not necessarily putting in the work, but getting over what some of the judgments might be. So grab your cold brew, grab your hot coffee, whatever beverage it is of choice, and let's start our day. All right, everybody, welcome to Cold Brew Hot Takes. I am Sam, your host, and thank you so much for joining me for episode 2. I highly recommend you go back and you watch episode 1 if you have not watched it yet or listened to it. We talk a lot about goal setting, and a lot of the time goal setting is really, really tricky. And if you've never really been able to do that outside of your corporate life, it's time to start doing that. But the hard part is not necessarily just writing things down. It's more about actually taking the action to start putting your goals into motion. A lot of the time, when we start thinking about how we want to take the action to get to where we want to go, it can be clouded by a lot of things. It's clouded by fear of judgment. It's clouded by worrying what other people think. It's clouded by our own doubts, our imposter syndrome, so many different elements. But today's episode, we're going to talk about getting over a lot of that stuff, because ultimately, when it comes time to start working towards your goals and making those actions happen and start going the distance, you are the one in control of that, and the only one holding you back is yourself at the end of the day. Really quickly, I want to talk about this podcast and how it has really been a brainchild of mine for a really long time. So in the past, and even still today, I listen to some daily motivational podcasts, and they're like 5 minutes long. They are very, very tidbit pieces, and I really enjoyed listening to them. But I have a couple of quips with them where they're just not 100% for me. And that's not to say they're bad podcasts, because they're definitely not. There's so many good podcasts out there, and I encourage you to listen to more podcasts, not just this one. What I was looking for was more content. I felt like I couldn't really go back and listen to other podcast episodes. I wanted a little bit more. When each episode is like 5 minutes long, that's like hardly anything for me. I needed something just a little bit longer, but I also didn't want anything that was like 45, 60 minutes long. My attention span sometimes just can't hold that long. And a lot of the time, I find that I cannot listen to a podcast while I'm working. I have to do something mindless, like cleaning or taking a walk or something like that. Outside of just the timing of it, the topics were something that I didn't really feel like clicked with me. For me, I really enjoyed listening to it, and it did motivate me to take action or make a change or, introduce a habit or something. But sometimes the content, it just wasn't resonating with me. So instead of continuing to look and look and look and hoping that a solution would come along, I decided I really want to do this for myself. But this thought was really a thought that came into my head years ago, and I wanted to do it. But honestly, I was scared. And I was always worried about judgment of people. Like, who does she think she is? Why does she feel qualified to give her advice or talk about her life on a podcast? Nobody cares what she has to say. She's stupid, blah, 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 all this stuff. And, honestly, I have let some people who I was once very, very close with, just honestly get away with being a hater and talking shit and preventing me from doing things that I want to do because I was afraid of what they would say, or their opinion really swayed me one way. And honestly, it just got under my skin, and it affected how I just continued on with my life. Like everything from where I went to school and where I went to college, competing in pageantry, extracurriculars, my wedding, even my pregnancy. People talk shit about. Yes, people talk shit about my pregnancy, which is really crazy to think about. But that's a story for another time. But the long short of it is, I really let the judgment of other people really get to me for a long time. And it really didn't start getting away from my clutches until I turned 30. And if you know, you know. If you don't know, I'm telling you, once you turn 30, a lot of that stuff, like a lot of caring what other people think, kind of starts to dissolve. And it was such a blessing for me. But, some of you might already feel that way where, you don't have that care. You don't really care what other people think. Like you can just swipe it away. But for me, I have always been somebody who has just massively cared about what other people think of me. And that is not something I'm proud of. I am not happy to admit that at all, but it is the truth. And now I'm at a point where I am ready to get started, do the things I want to do, and say fuck it to the people who have something to say about it, because I'm trying to be my most authentic self. I am trying to accomplish my goals and do the things that I want to do for me to help myself feel fulfilled, motivated, empowered, and feeling like I'm continuing to grow into the best version of myself. I want to share with you a quote / a paraphrase quote that I heard on a podcast called Financial Feminist / Her First 100K. It is a wonderful female empowerment financial podcast hosted by Tori Dunlap, and she's awesome. I highly recommend checking that out. She teaches a lot about just financial literacy, how to invest, all sorts of things to help create financial independence for yourself. Wonderful, wonderful podcast. But she also talks a lot about just real life shit. And one of her episodes that really sat so deeply with me and just really just penetrated my mind was when she and a guest were talking about imposter syndrome. And for me, I struggled, and I still do struggle with imposter syndrome. But either she or one of her guests had on this episode, something has stuck with me for the last year, and it's this: you can't get to 100 unless you start at 1. And getting started is the hard part. Writing down goals and making a plan and, getting your pen and your sticky note and all this stuff, that's easy. Anybody can write this stuff down. It's taking that first step, though. It is getting over your imposter syndrome. It is getting over fear of judgment and all of these things. That's the tough part. And, this you can't get to 100 unless you start at 1 has really stuck with me, because somebody like Tori and a lot of the people that I know who have successful businesses, successful podcasts, they have successful social media following, all of the things that I look at as successful, they didn't just get that overnight. They, first of all, started. They got over their fears. They got through these obstacles. And, for Tori, now she has #1 financial podcast. She's a New York Times bestselling author. She is a multimillionaire, right? All of these things. And she didn't just get this, right? It didn't just fall in her lap. She took the steps to get there. She wrote down her goals. She manifested them. She envisioned them for herself, and she made it happen. And that's really the only way that you're going to get to where you want to go with your goals, is if you take the steps and you make it happen. Obviously, that first step is getting started. And listen, I know it is hard to start. It's so hard to start something new. It's hard to walk into a room of people you don't know. It's hard to decide you want to do something that you've never done before. It's hard to put yourself in an uncomfortable position and not knowing where things are going to go. It's hard to feel like you might fail. It's hard to feel like you're being judged or being laughed at even. But I'm telling you, it's time for you to break free of that fear. It's time for you to break free of the fear of judgment and worrying about what other people think, the fear of people disagreeing with you, the fear that you're not good enough, the fear that you're not qualified enough, the fear that you are inexperienced and you should do X, Y, and Z before you do this. It's time to stop. It is time for you to stop holding yourself back because of these thoughts, because of these fears, because of these silly little doubts. If you want to turn into the better version of yourself, you want to have a better day today than you did the day before, stop holding yourself back, because ultimately, you are the only one doing that. Okay. Hard truth. So, with that in mind, How should you move forward with your day? First of all, I want you to know you are good enough. You should start. You can't get to 100 unless you get to 1. There's a reason that you don't just become a black belt, okay? It takes time. You have to get started. You have to learn. You have to put yourself out there and put these vulnerabilities out there. I want you to know that I see you when it comes to your fear of failure. That is something that held me back for so long, especially when it came to starting my business. I had these thoughts like, I'm just not smart enough. I had a fear of like, well, because I'm not smart enough, because I'm not qualified, because I'm not as experienced as other people, because this, and this, I'm going to fail. But it took me a really long time to accept that failure is not failure. Setbacks are not failure. Speed bumps are not failure. In fact, all of that stuff only means that you are gaining experience. You are gaining these amazing lessons that you can only get if you try. You have to try. If you don't, you're going to look back and you're going to say you wish you did. Because honestly, you can ask anybody who has put off those steps that they took or the journey that they embarked on to start a business, grow a following, follow a passion, begin a new hobby, whatever it is. I bet you, ask anybody, 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to say, my only regret is I didn't start sooner. And I want you to think about that, right? Because there's a lot of opportunity to put it off. Well, right now is not a good time. Oh, it's not a Monday. Oh, it's not the first of the month. Oh, we have a really busy summer ahead of us. Like, there's a million reasons to not do something. But what about that one big reason? Because you want to, because it's a passion of yours, because you just want to see where things go, because you never know if you're going to like it. You never know if you're going to all of a sudden find major fulfillment out of it. There's so much beyond that unknown that you deserve to try. You deserve to put yourself into a vulnerable position to see what the universe is going to bring to you. Because I bet you might see more than you can even imagine. It's funny because I look back at myself a year ago. Right before I started my business, I got laid off from my job, which I talk about a little bit in my last episode. At first, I'm like, gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do to support my family and do the things that I have to do in order for myself to survive? And also for I have to put food on the table, have bills to pay, I have a car payment, I have all of these things. What am I going to do? And I look at myself now and I'm like, I fucking did that. And if I didn't try, if I didn't put myself out there, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't even be in the position that I'm in. I'm proud of myself that I started. Because most people don't even start. Most people are too afraid to start. Don't be that person. You are better than that. You can fucking do it. Okay? I know you can do it. And I want you to remember, goals don't have to be massive. Goals can be micro steps. Okay? They can be a small little task that lead up to something big. Before I started this podcast, my little goals were, let's write down a couple of episodes. Let's think about how I would want to launch something like this. Let's think about a timeline. And I would just do a couple of those things. Okay? And now all of a sudden, it's just blossomed. Like, I'm ready to launch. I'm ready to create teaser trailers. I am ready to, start getting things together. I'm ready to actually put this out there and let the world see it. Because I made all these micro steps. And now here it is. Episode 2. And more coming. So just remember that. You don't have to have this giant goal today. You don't have to, build Rome in a day. You don't have to do that. Small little steps. Whether it's take a 15-minute walk or write down your to-do list or start putting things in your calendar, whatever it is. Start taking little steps if that's all you can do. Or if you're like, you know what? No, let's go for it. I'm going to do one big thing today. Do that. Do it. While you feel that passion in you, do it. You will not regret it. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much again for joining me for episode 2 of Cold Brew Hot Takes. I would massively appreciate it if you would follow us, subscribe, share this podcast, and rate it on Spotify. I would love to see what you think. I am open to feedback. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions, suggestions, anything like that. And of course, if you are following us on Instagram, thank you. If you are subscribing to us on YouTube, thank you. If you're not doing either of those things, please go check us out. And I look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Now go get yourself a refill and have a great rest of your day. Cheers.